Jay-Z and Desiree Perez have been in the news for quite some time now. We're hearing that Desiree Perez was a former cartel woman. You know, she was selling them birds. Jay-Z was linked in with the crew. He named her CEO of the Roc Nation. Her and Jay-Z got the Roc Nation together. They've been accused of doing a whole bunch of faulty business, right? It's real crazy. Now, Desiree Perez, she has her daughter coming out with all kinds of crazy allegations. This thing is crazy. This thing is real crazy, right? Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez denies allegations in daughter's detainment lawsuit, right? So Desiree Perez co-founded Roc Nation in 2008 and has had a long but lauded path to becoming the company's CEO. However, now she faces some heavy allegations from her daughter, according to a new report from NBC6 South Florida. Desiree Harley reportedly sued Perez for allegedly using unlawful means to have her falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act. She's the CEO of Roc Nation, which is a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z. The lawsuit reads, Hartley claims she spent 2 weeks in multiple mental health institutions for no clear or legitimate reason. She submitted medical records and body cam footage of a mobile crisis unit urging her to get in a gray pickup truck. Later, a doctor mentally evaluated Hartley and claimed her family, including her mother and aunt, alleged that she tried to overdose the night before. Furthermore, the lawsuit alleges Desiree Perez employed her money, power, and influence to tear apart Hartley and her husband Javon, creating an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot, to essentially try to separate me from my husband and falsely accuse him of domestic violence. Man, this thing is getting real goofy. However, the Roc Nation executive reportedly denied these allegations in court, filing a lawsuit against Javon a month before her daughter's lawsuit. She claimed to have evidence he abused Hartley for years, which the couple denies. Also, Perez allegedly feared that Hartley was using prescription drugs and would take her own life. I haven't seen anything in my entire years of practicing law that is so clear that someone did something wrong. Attorney Hilton Napoleon II reportedly stated, who was representing Demore Hartley. She claims Desiree Perez harassed the couple for years and made unfounded accusations that the prosecutors did not follow. The Miami-Dade State's Attorney's Office wrote an 11-page scathing closeout memoranda, which basically said that her mother made false accusations to the police. Napoleon II alleged Hartley left her last mental institution in April after Desiree Perez dismissed the case. Nevertheless, this situation led to a lawsuit. It's a complex issue, and we will see. We will see if we get updates on it soon. Now, the mom could be telling the truth, right? She's saying that this man was allegedly abusing her daughter for years, right? The daughter is saying, and she's saying that she thought her daughter was going to unalive herself with some pills. So things like this, listen, you know, a lot of people may have a problem with Desiree Perez with her checkered past and all the things that they're alleging that Roc Nation is doing. Now, a lot of stuff haven't been founded in court where they've been found guilty. There's been no proper investigation. But she's alleging that this man was doing this to her daughter. She could be lying. She could be the wicked person that people are claiming that she is. I don't know, right? But we know that we got a chance to see this stuff in real time on TV, you know what I mean, through the news, right? Y'all don't believe me? Look at this.
Action after she says she spent nearly 2 weeks in mental health institutions for no legitimate reason. She claims in a recently filed lawsuit that it was orchestrated by her own mother and others who should have protected her failed her. NBC6 investigative reporter Amy Viteri has her story.
So legally, I can go home.
No, you cannot.
Why?
Because you're being Baker acted.
Body camera video shows the moments Broward deputies encouraged Demore Hadley to get into this pickup truck with people she says she didn't know.
I can't ride with you and you guys take me?
You're going to be in handcuffs, so dog's not going to be able to come?
I don't want to be in handcuffs.
Okay.
Demore says they took her to a hospital for a mental health evaluation after this doctor signed paperwork saying she was a risk to herself.
What he told me was, we received a call from your family
that you tried to OD the night before.
A doctor she says she'd never met before. And according to Demore, it's her own mother who's behind it. In this lawsuit, she claims her mother, Desiree Perez, used unlawful means to have Demore falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act.
So she's the CEO of Roc Nation, a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z.
The complaint alleges a conspiracy, saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demore and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot.
To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence.
Perez has repeatedly denied these allegations in court filings. A month before Demore filed her complaint, we found her mother filed her own lawsuit against Demore's husband, Javon. Citing evidence, Perez says he has abused her daughter for years, something the couple has denied in court records. In that lawsuit, Desiree Perez says she moved to Baker Act her daughter, fearing she was at risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs.
I haven't seen anything in my entire 20 years of practicing law that it is so clear that someone did something wrong.
Attorney Hilton Napoleon is representing Demore in the lawsuit, which claims Perez harassed the couple for years, including making unfounded claims to get Javon arrested on multiple occasions for battery and domestic violence, charges prosecutors did not pursue.
The state attorney's office wrote a 11-page scathing closeout memoranda, which basically said that her mother made false allegations to the police.
In this closeout memo, a prosecutor with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office cites Demore's lack of cooperation and raises concerns about some of the evidence and how it was obtained. The prosecutor also wrote Demore was wrongfully Baker Acted last year, something her mother's attorney disputes in this letter, challenging many of the memo's other conclusions.
I have 3 different collateral sources of information that say that she's been acting psychotic, that she threatened to overdose yesterday.
Demore's lawsuit alleges her mother conspired with prominent psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober, seen here in body camera video, and others to have Demore committed for a mental health evaluation. Bober cites supporting evidence from her family and diagnosed Demore with an unspecified psychosis. He ordered she be taken to Memorial Regional Hospital, where he is chief of psychiatry, and where results from drug tests taken upon admission were negative, according to records Demore shared with us.
They told me your tox screens came out negative, and I go, I know. I don't do drugs.
In a statement, Dr. Bober's attorney said Demore was placed under the Baker Act for 38 hours due to the potential risk of imminent harm she posed to herself, adding failing to take appropriate action would have been a breach of Dr. Bober's ethical and professional obligations. While Demore was at Memorial, her mother further petitioned to have her transported to a different facility under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming again in court records that Demore suffered from severe drug abuse. A judge granted that petition.
They ran the test. They knew that she had no drugs in her system and she was not abusing drugs. And the fact that you can't do anything about it is scary.
Demore was sent to this treatment center in Deerfield Beach, where Dr. Bober serves as medical director.
Where are the people that are supposed to protect me from this happening?
According to her lawsuit, Demore requested a hair follicle test at that facility called Life Skills, which detects drug use for at least the past 3 months, and which showed no drugs had been in Demore. Demore was held at Life Skills until April 8th. She shared discharge paperwork that lists a diagnosis of persistent depressive disorder, which she disputes. No medication was prescribed. Court records show Demore was able to leave that day after her mother voluntarily dismissed the case. But Demore says the damage has been done, and she feels a system designed to keep people safe failed to protect her.
Money, influence, and power should not be something that's used, right, or abused to hurt innocent people.
Perez has filed a motion to dismiss Demore's complaint, asserting that the Baker Act and other legal proceedings she has undertaken were rooted in legitimate concern for her daughter's safety.
The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office tells us they stand by their memo. Memorial Healthcare says they can't speak about Demore's case because of the pending lawsuit. We also contacted Life Skills South Florida and have not yet heard back. BSO told us the incident involving Demore is now internally under review.
So with all that being said, a lot of people are going to look and say, wait a minute. So the Tory Lanez situation happened. And then blaming, Tory Lanez's father is blaming Roc Nation. Desiree Perez, she's being named her name is being dragged through the mud. So then all of a sudden, you get this situation where now she's putting her daughter, it's looking like she's trying to save her daughter's life. She's trying to save her daughter from an alleged guy that's assaulting her. Her daughter has some mental health issues. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, she's guilty. Get Roc Nation out of here, right? And they used the Baker's Act of Florida, right? So let's look at the Baker's Act and let's see what that actually is. The Baker Act, officially the Florida's Mental Health Act, is a Florida law that allows for temporary detention and involuntary examination of individuals with mental illness who may be a danger to themselves or others, or who are unable to care for themselves. It provides a means for crisis intervention and temporary protection while a person is evaluated for mental health treatment. Here's a more detailed explanation, right? Emergency mental health services. The Baker Act is designed to provide immediate and temporary emergency services for individuals experiencing mental health crisis. Temporary detention. It allows for the temporary detention of an individual up to 72 hours for mental health examination and treatment. Involuntary examination. The laws allows for involuntary examination of a person if there is a reason to believe they have a mental illness or are unable or unwilling to determine if examination is necessary. Protection. The Baker Act aims to protect both the individual and the public by ensuring that individuals in crisis receive the necessary evaluation and care. Key criteria to involuntary examinations. Reason to believe a mental illness exists. There must be a reasonable suspicion that the individual has a mental illness. Inability to care for themselves. The individual may be unable to care for their own basic needs or are at risk of significant harm to themselves. Refusal of examination. The individual may have refused examination or is unable to determine if the examination is necessary, right? So here we go. Who can initiate the Baker's Act? Law enforcement officers can initiate the Baker's Act process if they believe an individual meets the criteria. Mental health professionals, doctors, and mental health professionals can also initiate the Baker's Act. Judges can also initiate the Baker's Act. Important considerations, rights, and due process. The Baker Act also includes provisions to protect the individual's rights to ensure due process, including the right to a hearing and the right to counsel. Confidentiality. Baker's Act proceedings are generally confidential and not public record. Community services. The Baker Act also emphasizes the importance of providing community-based mental health services and reserving voluntary treatment for those who truly need it. So, man, this thing is real crazy. But let's also look at the Marchman Act. The Marchman Act in Florida is a law that allows for involuntary assessment, stabilization, and treatment of individuals who are severely impaired due to substance abuse. It's similar to the Baker Act, which deals with mental illness, but specifically addresses substance abuse issues. Here's a more detailed explanation. Involuntary assessment stabilization. The March Act allows for a brief involuntary assessment and stabilization period, using 5 days at a treatment facility. Involuntary treatment. If the assessment determines that treatment is needed, the court may order an individual to under treatment, which could be inpatient or outpatient. Court order treatment. The court can order an individual to attend and complete substance abuse treatment if they are deemed impaired and in need of services. Extension of treatment. The act allows for extension of treatment up to 60 days if necessary. Who can initiate it? Family members, a spouse, relative, guardian, or any person with personal knowledge of the person's substance abuse can initiate the Marchman Act petition. Licensed services providers, a director of licensed service provider, or a private practitioner can also file a petition. For minors, parents, legal guardians, or licensed service providers can file a petition for a minor, right? How it works. Petition. A petition for involuntary assessment and or treatment is filed with the court. Hearing. A hearing is scheduled to determine if the person meets the criteria for involuntary commitment. The person is assessed by a licensed service provider to determine the need for treatment. If the assessment supports the need for treatment, the court may issue an order for treatment. 5. treatment. The individual was then placed in treatment for facility program. Man, this thing gets real goofy. So I don't know, this can go multiple ways. There's multiple people that were saying that this woman was sick. Now we don't know I don't know the type of pull that Desiree Perez may have. I know a lot of times with the internet, they say Roc Nation. Whenever something goes wrong in the music industry, they go for Roc Nation. I mean, and I don't know if Roc Nation is guilty of just everything that goes wrong in the music industry. This is a situation with her daughter. She basically 302 the daughter. She's saying her daughter's crazy. She filed a lawsuit a while back on the daughter's husband. The daughter's saying now the daughter has a lawsuit on her. The doctor done now lawyered up because the doctors, they feel like they're mixed up in it, in a lot of this foolishness. But we're gonna see how this thing play out, man. Because if Desiree is really guilty of a lot of things that people say she's guilty of, at some point things are gonna come to a head. I mean, they're not gonna just be able to keep doing this because every time something happens, they going at it's Jay-Z. It's Desiree Perez, it's Roc Nation. Like, they're guilty of everything. So now with this situation happening, remember, they were saying that soon as Tory Lanez got poked up in prison and they blamed them for it, they were saying that, they said that they had some new footage that would clear his name. And right after that, he got poked up. Guess who they blamed? They blamed Roc Nation. I'm not saying whether it's true or false. All I'm saying is it's never been a trial. They never been brought to court. So if they doing all of these real bad things behind the scene, at some point, the thing's going to come falling down. Nothing lasts forever, right? And now the daughter's coming after her. And the daughter's saying that she did all these bad things, right? And we read all the acts. We seen, what they can do and what they can't do. And she's saying that her daughter's crazy. The daughter's saying, no, my mother's crazy and my mother hates my husband. So we see how this thing play out. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Leave your comments in the comment section. Hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.